Cool. So what first happens is this is the RAS. Why is it important? So the RAS is pretty much our brain's filter. It's located on the stem of the brain. And this filter filters all of the messages that we get from the outside world. And the cool thing about this is that we can actually affect these filters. Cool. So I'm going to explain how exactly this works and how the RAS and the chain cycle work together. So what happens is that we first get our life events, cool, and life happens, as we all know, and then our VACOG, which is our five senses. Now, our five senses are visual, so what we can see. The next one is auditory, what we can hear. Kinesthetic is energy, is what we can feel. Gustatory is what we can taste, and olfactory is what we can hear. Cool. Then our brain filters the information, intakes it and filters the information. This is where the RAS works. So the RAS takes in the information and processes it, and then we get an internal representation of what's happened. So we do that, and then this will affect our state and our mood, and then this will also affect our physiology. Cool? Now, if we get a bad internal representation and then we get into a bad mood or a bad state, we can actually use this one over here to fix that. So if we can change our physiology, we can change our state, and that'll have also an effect on our internal representation. Cool? So it can cheer us up. Then it's like for when you go and exercise and then you feel a whole lot better. That's changing your state. Cool. Then after that, we have our environment in our chain cycle. So that's the first step. So we got environment, we have actions, beliefs, values, and identity. Cool. So pretty much how it works is it works like this. Cool. And it works all together. So pretty much our environment. So our environment is the places that we hang out with. So this will have an effect on our RAS as well. If we're in a bad environment, we're going to get into a bad state because the RAS will filter it and be like, oh, this is not a great place to be. I'm going to give that internal representation. Then that's going to put us into a bad state, and then that will affect our physiology. Same with identity. If you start identifying yourself in a certain way, it's going to affect your internal representation of yourself. But if you start if you start to identify yourself as something positive, then your internal representation would be something a lot better. Same with your values. So values are pretty much the stories that we tell ourselves. So if we change a story, they'll actually change our reality because the RAS will filter it. Now, everything I say is based on science, and this stuff all actually works. Then belief. So once the story is positive, the belief will back up the value, and then subconsciously you'll action it. But sometimes the easiest way to change is if we start actioning it. Even though you feel uncomfortable at the gym, but you walk in, you overcome it, and you start doing it, and you start actioning it, then what happens is you start believing in it, then you value it, then you start identifying yourself as a gym goer, and then your environment is going to be at the gym. So it doesn't really matter where you start, but you've got to start with one of these things, and then it will start to change this, and you'll be filtering it better. But the most important thing is to have a positive mindset about it and, actually believe that you can do it. And it costs nothing to be positive. It costs nothing to be positive. So you might as well, because being positive beats being negative. And once you change that and you change your language, it'll change your life. So that's another bit of the change cycle that is not on here, but language is another very, very important step. So you change your language, then you start identifying yourself differently, then you start valuing yourself differently, then your belief change, you start actually believing in yourself, then you action it, then your whole environment and those bad friends or those bad people that you used to hang out with aren't there anymore. Instead of smoking ciggies and drinking alcohol or whatever it may be, you're at the gym, switched up with protein shakes, and you're actually achieving something, and you actually feel good. And you're actually hanging out with like-minded people, and then you start identifying yourself as someone of health. Then you value health, then you believe in it, and then you start actioning it. And that's how the change cycle works. And that's